Alrighty, let's go. Welcome back into the Skooshi Sport Podcast and your Global Sports Roundup for the week. We are back after a week's break. Hope you all had a brilliant, fucking fantastic Christmas. I know I did. Heading into the new year, got our weekly sports roundup. I give you the latest sporting news from the latest week. Probably going to be looking at the latest fortnight actually, because I did miss last week. So if you are new to the channel here, we go through every single Wednesday morning, or I film Tuesday night, going through the latest sporting news from the last week. I bring this out every Wednesday morning, generally going through sports pretty much across the world that's not rugby league related. So looking at, your cricket, your darts, maybe a bit of tennis, bit of golf, sort of anything else, and then your American sports as well. So I do cover pretty much all of it that I can really think of. Don't really follow too much of like your Formula Ones and like your USC kind of thing. I do know what's going on in the world. I am so busy watching so much other stuff. I struggle to consume it and keep track of it, and then, know enough what's going on to actually provide enough information and knowledge on a podcast without looking like an absolute dickhead. So, generally, I'll cover like your cricket, so I said darts, your American sports, bit of golf, bit of tennis as well. That's not rugby league related. Rugby league is generally like my number one sport that I follow as well and keep in touch with. Rugby union, that's generally there as well. If there's rugby union happening across the world as well, I'll give you updates on that as well. But as I said, if you are new to the channel, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe as well to the channel, clicking up nearly to 60 subscribers, which I actually think is so cool, right? I know it's such a small number, but it's getting more and more every day, which I think is cool. Follow all my socials down below in the links in the comments, L at Skooshi Sports, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter/X. It's all there for you. Remember to give it a big follow on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so get notified every single time a podcast does come out. But let's get into it. With these episodes as well, I generally will bring out my women's athlete or player of the week as well, which is such a big feature of my podcast, which I absolutely love. Something I want to put definitely more of a spotlight on in the whole world of sport, right? If I'm going to talk about sport, I'm going to be talking about everything sort of sport related that I know, and I want to put this it's a big segment I like every week, and highlighting and featuring a women's athlete that doesn't probably get featured, that you see on the front page of the paper or a lot in the news, but someone that you may not have ever heard of or what sport they're doing, but get them in the limelight. And that's my objective, and what I want to do more when I get more into this podcasting is give the spotlight more to these women's athletes, because they deserve it. They're so much they're just as talented as the guys, and they work just as hard as the men as well. So they deserve to get the limelight and the spotlight. And that's generally where I always start the episode as well. So in this episode, I'm actually going to swap it out for the week, because it's the last week of the year, right? It felt rude to not do Women's Athlete or Player of the Year. The whole year of 2025, I'm going to give it to you, followed by a bit of cricket update, your darts, and then our American sports. So NFL, NBA, and a bit of ice hockey, NHL. Yes, I do follow the NHL as well. If you're not, what are you doing? Get involved. It is unbelievable. But let's get straight into it. Our women's player/athlete of the year. It is going to an Australian athlete this year, which is super cool. She is absolutely destroyed 2025. Her best year of the career, best year of her career by far. And it's in athletics as well, in high jump. So that is Australian Nicola Ollie-Sluggers. Excuse me. Nicola Ollie-Sluggers in the high jump. So she was born in Sydney, grew up in the northern beaches of New South Wales there. So she, as I said, does high jump. She has absolutely destroyed it this year. She has won the worlds in both outdoor high jump and indoor as well. Getting gold medal in the indoor in China, and then gold medal in the outdoor in Tokyo, which, was it 4 or 5 years ago when they had the Olympics in Tokyo? I'll say 2020, but was happened in 2021. She did get a silver medal there in Tokyo in the Olympics, and then I believe she got a gold last year in Paris as well. So absolutely killing it in 2025 and also last year. She was also a Diamond League final winner as well. So the Diamond League in athletics, it's sort of like they have these series of events all across the world. it's from between like May and September and October, all around the world. And, you know, they get to the end stage and, like, you know, the best athlete essentially wins that, goes to the finals at that event. And then, you know, it's like down to like your best sort of 8 female athletes. And then you crown your winner from there. And she took all of that. So she has destroyed it all this year, winning, I said, the outdoor, indoor, across the whole season as well. And then she's been awarded the World Athletics Female Field Athlete of the Year. I believe the first Australian woman to do it as well, which is super cool. And this isn't just Australian like athletics female like athlete of the year field. This is the World Athletics Female Field Athlete of the Year. Not in high jump, the whole field in athletics. So all your field events worldwide. Unbelievable stuff to go to an Australian. Massive congratulations to Nicola. She broke the Oceanian record, highest jump in the world in 2025 as well. Definitely her defying moment of her season when she cleared 2.04 meters. Over 2 meters tall. Like, literally, average basketball player jumping over them, which I just find mind-boggling. Absolutely insane. One of the best jumps that we've seen in over a decade in high jump. And as I said, like, I'm pretty sure she did that in the Diamond League final, which was just insane. She cleared 2 meters in the outdoor to win the gold medal in Tokyo, and then does 2.04 meters in the Diamond League final. It's just like 2.04 meters. I can't even fathom that. I'm a guy that's like 5'8" or something, like maybe a short 5'8", but it easily clears me by a country mile. And yeah, absolutely outstanding. So massive congratulations to Nikki Olaslagers from Australia, from Sydney, my Skooshi Sports Podcast, Women's Player Athlete of the Year for 2025. How bloody good. Unbelievable stuff. All right, let's get into the other news for the week. We're going to start with a bit of cricket. So 2 weeks ago, we were 2-0 up. Australia was 2-0 up in the Ashes. We were just about to start the third test. I think they were starting like the next day after I recorded my last podcast. That was in Adelaide, and Australia pretty much absolute steamrolled that test. And all off the back of Head getting, 170 in the second innings. Carey got a century in the first innings as well. So that locked up the Ashes for them, 3-0. England could not come back from that. So what they win? They won that one by 82 runs. And you know what? I want to say it was a thrashing, but there was a point there where I think England needed to chase down about 430 or something. And it would have been a world record chase. And honestly, there was a point in time where you kind of felt like maybe England did have a slight chance, but you just felt like a lot of the tests that Australia were in control. And it's just felt like for most of the series, apart from the Boxing Day test, which I'll get into, that England have had these chances to either go on it with batting-wise and really kind of put on a bigger score to have a bigger lead, or they get a couple quick wickets, especially early in the innings. I think both of these innings, they had Australia like 2 for 38 or something. And then they wouldn't get their third wicket until Australia over 100, and just couldn't really put them in a lot of trouble or a lot of pressure. And ended up ever being like sort of that one guy that like ahead getting that 170, or a Carey comes in, get 106 in the first innings to sort of save it. And then there wouldn't be too many in the English side in the batting that would just, like grab it by the balls and I guess like take the opportunity and put in a big score. I think Joe Root is the only Englishman so far to have a century so far in the series for England. And it's just been like, I feel like it's been a lot of close moments for England. I get it, it's now 3-1, but when it was 3-0, you kind of felt like, I guess it was a bit closer in a way. They had a good chance, I thought, in Perth, where they had a lead of about 110 runs. I think they were 4 down, and then just absolutely collapsed after that lunch break there. And then they did get beaten pretty, I guess, convincingly in Perth, but you just felt maybe they had a sniff in Adelaide, and then they win the 4th test. So I feel like, in a way, the series could be a bit different. I think it comes down to like match fitness. I think it comes down to like their prep, not playing a whole lot of tests in Australia. The team not playing a whole lot of tests in general beforehand. We know a lot of the Australians played Sheffield Shield before this got started. And I think you saw just like the batting fitness and just they were locked in from the first test, and hasn't been too many disappointments from the Australian side. Maybe like Josh Inglis, I guess. Maybe Cam Green has been a little bit disappointing with the bat as well. But everyone at the top of the order, like your Travis Head, I think Weatherall's been okay. Like Marnus has been there. Steve Smith has put on some runs as well. Alex Carey has obviously been fantastic as well. And then the bowlers have just been absolutely killing it. Even though you've had Hazelwood out all series, you've had Cummins out for 3 tests now. You've had like Boland come in, Nisa come in, and Doggett come in, and they just looked outstanding. Didn't even play Nathan Lyon in Adelaide. They still killed it with the ball and, at the Gabba, my bad. And they've just had like no issue. And it's just, I mean, it's such a testament to Australian cricket, but I think the prep that they had is such a massive impact to that. And you felt like in this Boxing Day test, the 4th test that they just had a finished in 2 days, by the way. They won it by 4 wickets, England did. Their first test win in Australia in like nearly 5,500 days or something ludicrous like that. And like first time since like 2011, something obscene, like 14, 15 years. And they completely deserved it. Like they looked like they were like bowling a lot better. They looked like they finally, it's like the first 3 tests were like the warm-up games essentially. Then they finally came to play, and I get it. It was over in 2 days. The pitch, we can talk about the pitch if we want, but 36 wickets in 2 days is pretty obscene. But, you know, Australia go out to bat first, get rolled for 152, which wasn't great. England go out, get rolled for 110 when they had a chance to build a lead. But then they bowled really well in that second innings. They rolled Australia for 132, had a target of 176, I believe, to win that one. And they got there quite easily. Like, they had 6 wickets down, but really, they did lose a couple wickets near the end there. It was pretty stress-free for England, in all honesty. And like, yeah, they just looked a lot more comfortable. Their bowling was a lot better. They looked fitter. They're bowling good lines. You know, and they just, like, Tongue was on fire. Atkinson was bowling really well as well. Archer, he's taken a 5 I believe it was in Adelaide as well. So it's not like they've been shocking. I guess they've been, like, closer than what people are saying. Even though we're looking at a 3-1 scoreline, we were looking at 3-0. People were saying 5-0. And there's honestly a really good potential they win in Sydney and make it a 3-2 series, which, you know, you look at moments that have happened in the series, they could have easily, like, I guess, like, win this Ashes series, which is crazy to think about looking at the scoreline, but it is the honest truth, I think. Speaking of that Boxing Day test, the pitch curator from the MCG, Matt Page, he had 10 millimeters of grass on the day 1 pitch, which is a lot, right? It's a centimeter of grass, which is a lot for a cricket pitch. And 7 millimeters last year, so he's gone like 30% more than what he had last year in the series against India, and that test went to day 5. And if you don't remember that test, or, you know, don't know a lot about cricket, that was probably one of the best test matches that we've ever seen. It was an absolute cracker. Came down to the last session of day 5. I believe Australia needed to get 9 wickets on that last day and got it. And it's just enthralling cricket. And we just didn't get that, which is such a shame in all honesty. But moving on, we've got the 5th test starting on the 4th of January in Sydney. So I believe that is I think that's a Monday, in Sydney. So we've got a week, like a midweek test, which I find quite odd. I thought maybe they could potentially try and start one, you know, like maybe Friday or Saturday. I'm not sure what the go is there. I do worry with Jay McGrath Day on the 3rd day. Maybe it'll be like a half day, or they won't make it the way that the series is going. But we'll see. I have no doubt the SCG pitch creator has looked at what's happened at Boxing Day test and has made some serious changes if he was like that already. Surely we get like a 4 or 5 day test. Knowing the Sydney test, it rains at least 1 day there. Surely he's done something with his pitch where we get it to day 5. It needs to get to day 5. Just so Cricket Australia have lost, $16 million in profits, I believe, from a sellout in day 3 and a lot of money on day 4 as well. a lot of money, and I believe the players make about 24% of that as well. So it's $4 million lost for the players as well, which is a lot. But moving on, we'll talk about a bit of Big Bash, because the Big Bash has been enthralling. It's been so good to start the year. It started a couple weeks ago. We spoke about it in the last Global Sports Roundup. It just sort of kicked off with 3 games in. And we've seen 4 centuries so far in the Big Bash so far. And I am recording this during the Sydney Thunder and Perth Scorchers game. Sydney Thunder are currently batting. I believe is at 2 for 77. I can read that. I just nearly saw Ashton Turner. He got stuck on 99. We nearly saw one of an awesome centuries as well by the number 6, I believe. Incredible innings. He was hitting it absolutely everywhere. Clean hitting as well. So good to see by Ashton Turner. But I said 4 centuries so far. We had Tim Seifert, who got that one pretty early on. And then we had one of the best games I've ever seen in 2020. We had Perth and Brisbane at the Gabba. Perth batted first, put on about 259 or something. And Brizzy Heat go and chase it down and win it by, I think it was 8 or 7 wickets, I want to say. Matty Renshaw gets a century. Jack Wildermuth also gets a century. I think that's the first time since IPL happened about 5-6 years ago that a 2020 team has had an innings with 2 players getting centuries. Wildermuth finished unbeaten, not out, about 110, I believe. Outstanding hitting. Considering Heat were 1 for none in that. Colin Munro got a golden duck in that game and they still won it. It was one of the best run chases I've ever seen. It was incredible. They now sit... they're sitting 2-2, the Brizzy Heat, so they're sitting 3rd on the ladder. Excuse me. Obviously, still pretty early days in the Big Bash, so a lot of teams have played 4 games, even 3. Hobart's actually played 5 so far. So if we look at the standings, Stars are 4th and 4 so far. They are sitting on 8 points. Hobart is 4 out of 5, sitting on 8 as well. Then you got Brizzy Heat 2 out of 4, and then honestly, the bottom half from there, Sixers have won 1 out of 4, Scorchers won 1 out of 3, Strikers 1 out of 3, Thunder 1 out of 4, and Renegades 1 out of 3 as well. So one of those 5 teams I mentioned that's playing right now, obviously Perth in the Sydney Thunder, they will actually move up to the top 4. So crazy that the Stars and the Hurricanes are playing a lot of these bottom teams and just beating them. The Stars finally looks like a stacked team that they've had for years and years and years in the Big Bash. Finally coming to fruition. Can they finally actually win one? We will see. They are a bit of a choker team, but we will see come the finals. I'm not sure how many games they actually do play each, but I think it's maybe 10 or 11. I'm not quite sure there off the top of the dome. But in other cricket news, in the last 2 weeks, we did have New Zealand play the West Indies in their 3rd test. So they did have a 3-test series. They drew the first one. New Zealand won the second one by 9 wickets, and then they won the 3rd one by 323 runs. They needed 10 wickets on the last day to bowl West Indies all out, and they did it for 138, which was absolute scenes. 10 wickets in a day. So bloody good. And honestly, I think West Indies were 1 for 77 or something, and then just completely capitulated. So good win by the Black Caps there. Come on. Go Black Caps. All right, moving on to the darts. And if you've been living under a rock, we've got the World Darts Championship happening at the moment. Oi. So bloody good. In Australia, it's on every single morning, literally starting from 3 a.m. up until 9 a.m. It's unbelievable. We are now into pretty much the last 16 here. So the round 4 matches are heading into the quarterfinals. We do have a couple quarterfinals named. One of those being Luke Littler, the world number 1. He beat Rob Cross today 4-2 in sets. That was actually an outstanding match. I think Littler averaged 107 or something, I believe. He was playing so well, and then Rob Cross absolutely replied as well. That last set that they played, I think Littler averaged 117 and Rob Cross averaged 113 and still lost a set, which is crazy. I think Littler in the 4th set, I think he averaged 125, which is unbelievable. He had, I think, 17 180s against Rob Cross today. 17 180s. Insane. That wasn't even the best match that he's played so far. The match beforehand against Mensur Suljovic was outstanding. Averaged 107 for the whole match. I think he went 70% on double checkouts, which is crazy. He had 9 180s. He was just like ton checking out from absolutely everywhere. I know my dad absolutely loves this guy. He's 18 and he's a world number 1 in the world, and he deserves it too. He is so bloody good to watch, so entertaining. If we look at the other sort of marquee matches, by the way, that 107 average was the second best average so far for the tournament. Young talent as well, Gian Van Veen has the highest average, 108.28 as well. I think he's got a pretty easy fourth round match coming up, but he may be playing Luke Humphries, the world number 2 in the quarterfinals. That's if Luke Humphries beats Kevin, was it Doetz or Dietz, the number 40 ranked player in the world tomorrow, which I assume he will. And then they two play each other in the quarters. That is going to be an absolute barn burner, an absolute blockbuster. Cannot bloody wait. I believe the final is, I think it's Sunday morning here in Australia at like 6 a.m. First to 7 sets. I would probably be saying it's going to be Luke Littler against, honestly, it's going to be against Humphries, I think. The two best players in the world, and for good reason. I just think they're both going to be visited in the final. Pretty confident Littler will be there. He's got a pretty easiest draw heading into that final. The guys seated around him being knocked out. But I said Luke Humphries plays Kevin Dietz in the fourth round tomorrow, and then you got Michael Van Gerwen. Michael Van Gerwen. He plays Gary Anderson. I think that is tomorrow as well. Gary Anderson, two-time world champion, I believe, number 14 seed. That is going to be an absolute doozy of a match as well. MVG starting to play a bit better as well in this tournament. Started with a little bit rocky. Almost nearly lost his first round match, and he's sort of been playing a little bit better ever since. Going to be an absolute cracker match. Honestly, absolute cracker match. Cannot wait for that. But as I said, if you haven't watched darts before, get onto this. It is on every morning, a little bit late every night as well. These guys are so bloody good at throwing a dart. The atmosphere is incredible at the Ali Pali. And the final, as I said, Sunday morning, I believe, in Australia. So if you haven't watched darts before, make sure you get onto it. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. All right, let's move on to our American sports, man. And kicking off, we're going to start with the NFL. If you are new, as I said, I am a big NFL guy. I do the Red Zone report every single week. I do a weekly preview, so we're into week 18 now. Week 17 just finished today. We had the Falcons upsetting the Rams 27-24, which was a huge upset. Considering the Rams lost last week in one of the games of the year against Seattle in overtime there. I forgot what the final score. I think it was 34-33 off the top of the dome there. And now, they've lost back-to-back games, and now they can't get the number 1 seed when it looked like they were going to get the number 1 seed. And they're sitting third in the division at 11-5, which I think is bonkers. San Fran 12-4, Seattle 13-4. They should beat Arizona week 18. So they're locked into the playoffs. It's just where they finish in the division. I'm not sure if they can finish second or third in the division. Probably they'll definitely be going on the road, though, in the playoffs, and likely somewhere cold. So just trying to think. Obviously, I don't think they'll be playing Carolina. They're probably going to be playing a team like, won't be probably Chicago. Probably... I don't think it'll be Seattle. It might be the Philadelphia Eagles, a rematch from last year, so cannot wait for that one there. If we look at our other sort of standout scores from the NFL week that happened, we had the Houston Texans beating the Chargers 20-16. Texans are definitely in the playoffs now. That Chargers lost, and the Broncos beating the Chiefs on Christmas Day means the Broncos are the AFC West champions, the division champions. So where are they seated? I'm just going to get up the tables now for the AFC. They're actually battling for the number 1 seed. Them and the Patriots. I'm not sure what the goal is. If I think they've got a better tie record against the Patriots. So if the Broncos beat the Chargers, the Chargers are resting Justin Herbert this week. So it looks like Denver's going to get the number 1 seed, which is wild. wild. I think they're very fraudy, like number 1 seed team. I get it. They're going to finish the season 14-3 most likely. Holy dooly. They've won a lot of those games by less than 7. I don't rate Bo Nix. The defense is carrying them. See how we go in the playoffs. But it looks like they'll get a week off. Holy shit. That is crazy, man. Home divisional, potentially home AFC championship game. Oh, my words. We had, what else did we have? We had the Ravens beating the Packers by 17, 41-24, battle of the backup QBs. And that meant with Tyler Huntley winning that game and potentially Lamar Jackson coming back for week 18 and the Steelers losing against the Browns, all the Steelers had to do was beat the Browns and they lock up the division. But they have now given the Ravens a sniff. They now play each other this week in week 18. Ravens win, they're in. Steelers win, they're in. Win and get in. It's in Pittsburgh. Holy dooly, that's going to be an absolute doozy of a match. Cannot wait. And speaking of the other division match to get into the playoffs is my Carolina Panthers going to Tampa Bay. That is essentially almost a win and get in. If Carolina loses that match and the Atlanta Falcons beat the Saints, Panthers actually still get into the playoffs based off the tie of common opponents that they've played. Panthers actually have a better record than the Bucks when it comes to that, which is kind of cool, I guess. I'll take it. I feel like an Englishman in the World Cup final celebrating like winning boundaries. But if like Bucks win, they're in. But if Panthers win, they're in as well. So sorry, not Bucks win, they're in. But if the Panthers win, they're in anyway. So Panthers' focus should be just literally winning the fucking game on Sunday morning here. I'm nervous, but I cannot wait. An opportunity to get into the playoffs. Not what I expected at the start of the season. And I am bitterly excited for it. I cannot wait. Looking at the other sort of AFC matchups that we've got going. So, looks like the Jags just have to beat the Titans, I think, this coming week to win the AFC South, which you'd think they would. Seattle, as I said, plays San Francisco this week. Seattle win. They will get the number 1 seed. So it won't lock up the number 1 seed just yet. I believe if San Fran do beat Seattle there in San Fran, that San Fran will actually get the number 1 seed, which is wild. But Chicago's locked up the division. Eagles are locked up the division as well. So I'm not sure. So if San Fran beats Seattle, Seattle will stay 13-4. So they're going to finish first or second in the division. But that's a difference between number 1 seed getting the week off or going on the road in the wild card. It's a huge game, huge difference. I think Seattle probably backs. I'm going to back the better defense in that game there. We had Eagles winning 13-10 against the Bills. So that meant the Patriots win the AFC East. Locked up for sure. Bills are in the playoffs no matter what. The AFC is actually pretty much decided on playoff wildcard spots now with the Texans, Chargers, and the Bills. I believe it just comes down to this week where they sort of get seeded, I guess. So I'm not sure if I know Chargers are resting Justin Herbert. Not sure what the Texans and the Bills are doing there. Speaking of the 49ers before, they had an absolute shootout. One of the games of the year against the Bears on Sunday Night Football, primetime, 42-38. Holy dooly. Bears now 11-5. San Fran now 12-4. But Bears have locked up the NFC North in that division there. Cannot lose it. So just a matter of sort of seeding, I guess, and who they'll host in the wild card. Probably looking like they'll be hosting potentially the Rams. We'll see how everything goes. Probably, or maybe so they'll be hosting Green Bay. My bad. 2-7. Wow, division matchup in the wild card. You cannot bloody beat it. These two teams literally played in week 16 in that overtime game, and that was insane as well. Bloody insane. So I will be previewing week 18 of NFL for you tomorrow on the Red Zone Report when this comes out. I'll be recording it for you tomorrow or today when this one does come out. last one of the regular season, maybe 18 weeks we've done it. Crazy. It's just insane how fast it goes. But let's move on to a bit of NBA chat and just a weekly update that we usually do. Our team of the week was the LA Clippers, who went 3-0. About time they started clicking together. Kawhi Leonard, 55 points against the Pistons a couple days ago, which is insane. Good to have him back. And the shitty team of the week, Philadelphia, went 0-3. Sixers, even though they're healthy, kind of falling down a bit of a standstill at the moment, which is weird to see. That Eastern Conference is so weird, man. It's so bunched up. I think the top two are easily the Pistons and the Knicks. I think the Knicks make the finals. I think they play OKC. But speaking of OKC, they've now lost 3 times this season to the Spurs. They've lost twice, literally in like the last 2 weeks to them, especially after losing NBA Cup semi-final. They've now lost them again twice, especially they got dusted at home the other day. Really weird. Really weird. Let's have a look at the MVP sort of odds as well. Usually it's like between SGA and Jokic at the moment, around the 250 odds. However, Nikola Jokic gets injured today. Injures his knee against Miami Heat. Went off at the end of the first half limping. He has an MRI tomorrow. Usually if you're looking at getting an MRI, it's probably not good signs. I have no idea if it's going to be good or if it's bad. If he didn't come back on, it's probably not great. If he's getting a scan, it's probably not the best. His odds are still $5 for MVP, which I guess would indicate maybe he's okay, but what would the bookies know? Like, the bookies don't know the scans, surely. But that difference has meant SGA goes to $1.40 favor for MVP, which we're nearly halfway through the season. That is a very short price. Doncic at $5.75. The other rest of the comp is pretty much gone. Like, Victor's Wembanyama is obviously back now, which is good to see. Giannis can't win it. Kay Cunningham can't win it. Jalen Brunson can't really win it unless he absolutely just turns it on, but I can't see it. So it's probably looking like it's SGA at this point unless he cops an injury. And they are still the Thunder, very heavy favorites, despite losing a few games now. I think they lost to the Wolves as well recently too. So they've lost like 4 games in the last 2 or 3 weeks, which is, considering they were 25-1 or something stupid. They're now, I think, like 28, and I'll have it here actually, my bad. They are now 28-5. So there you go. They've lost in their last 10. They've gone 6-4. So there you go. 60% of game wins in the last 10 games there. Looking at the Eastern Conference, the Pistons are still atop there. They are 1 win ahead of the Knicks. But as I said, these top 2 teams are dominating. They're 3.5 games ahead of Boston, who's third. Toronto's still hanging in there. The Magic are hanging in there too. Finally, good to see the Miami Heat above the play-in spots. Oh my goodness. Seems like every single year, the Bulls, the Hawks, and the Heat are always in these play-on spots. The Bulls and the Hawks are in there, but it's finally good to see the Heat in 6th at the moment, half a game ahead of the Sixers. The Cavs are still struggling on struggle street. Had a good win today, though, against the Spurs, even though De'Aaron Fox was not playing. They are still 4-6 in the last 10, though. They are 18-16 on the year, and they started flying at the start of the year. I think they started 6-0 or something. And then you kind of go down. You've got the Bucks that Giannis has been injured. He's going to get traded literally next month. And then you got some pretty bad teams. You got the Hornets. The Nets, actually, you know what? The Nets. I'm going to give the credit to some Nets, because they've really gone on a run lately. They've really improved out of nowhere. Winning these games is like double-digit underdogs, which is cool to see. They're 6-4 in their last 10. Way better than what the Wizards and the Pacers are doing. The Pacers, they are an absolute train wreck, unfortunately. They are 1-9 in the last 10. Holy dooly. Making the finals last season to being last in the Eastern Conference. Oh my goodness gracious. If we have a look at the Western Conference, OKC is still at top, ahead by 4.5 games. However, ESPN now has Spurs number 1 power ranked, which I guess is true. If you beat OKC 3 times, I guess you deserve to be number 1, right? Makes sense to me. Spurs sitting 2nd in the Western Conference, now ahead of Denver, and we'll see where Denver goes now without Nikola Jokic. I'm not sure if it's a couple weeks or going to be a couple months potentially. They're looking good though with Wembanyama coming back. They've lost the last 2 though, touch wood. They lost to the Cavs today at home. But I think you've got a pretty clear-cut top 4 or 5 teams, I guess, like the Nuggets and the Rockets there as well. The Lakers, though, the Lakers are weird, man. It's like too many cooks in the kitchen. What are they, 5-5 in the last 10? LeBron's kind of like halting this team, I reckon, a little bit. Kind of not bringing Luka in, like Austin Reeves has obviously been out, but it's just weird. I don't know. I just don't know the dynamic that's going on. See what JJ Redick does with the team there. You've got Timberwolves, Suns, Warriors, Grizzlies, and the Blazers all around that sort of play-in spot there. Can't really see them featuring too much when it actually does come to the playoffs. As I said, team of the week was the Clippers. Won 4 in a row now. Holy dooly. I said Kawhi, 55 points, 11 rebounds against the Pistons. They destroyed the Pistons, I believe it was yesterday or Monday when I'm recording this. Again, can't see these teams doing much. Like the Mavericks are gone, Clippers are gone. Maybe they can make a charge. Kings are Dunskies. Pelicans are so bad. Pelicans' worst record in the league at the moment. Oh my goodness gracious me. All right, let's move on to a bit of ice chat. The ice hockey ice chat. Not talking about drugs here, my friends. We're moving on to ice hockey. The Avalanche still killing teams, right? The Avalanche and the Stars are still the clear 2 top teams in the league at the moment. The thing about the Avalanche, they have had 2 regular season losses in 32 games, which is just insane to think about. Insane. 7 overtime losses. So they've had 4 shootout losses. They've taken a lot of games to overtime, but they have 2 regular season losses is crazy. They had a big win against Vegas the other day, 6-5 or something absurd. If you have a look, but I said them and Dallas in the Western Conference is absolutely dominating the rest. If you have a look at the Eastern Conference, like the Atlantic Division these divisions in the Eastern Conference are so tight. The difference between the Lightning first in the Atlantic between Florida, who is 5th in the Atlantic, is 3 points, which is 1.5 wins. Insanely tight. Florida looks like they'll get Matthew Tkachuk back pretty soon. He's apparently skating on the ice and training, just non-contact. We do have the Winter Olympics coming up, I believe, in about a month or so time. So they do take a bit of a break for that, like 2-3 weeks break from that. So would expect Tkachuk to, I think, play the Olympics and then be back for Florida to have the home stretch. Not sure what Alex Barkov, the captain, is up to. Maybe he will be back for the playoffs. I am not quite sure. But yeah, and then the Metro, you've got 5 points separating 2nd in the division to 7th in the division. So between the Islanders and the Rangers, which it's so close. But the Rangers looking like a pretty dead team at the moment. The Capitals seem to be up, down. Had a lead against Florida 3 times today, then lose the game outright, which is just annoying because I was on them. But the Western Conference, man, is looking very, very dominant, especially the Central Conference. You look at the whole ladder, they are way ahead. They are 53 Avalanche points, Stars 49, and the next is the Hurricanes on 44. And they, as I said, destroying teams. The Stars are having some big wins, man. They beat the Ducks 8-3, I think, the other day. I know they beat the Oilers. They put on 8 on them as well. They're putting up a lot of goals. A lot of goals. But let's have a look at the... Sorry, I wasn't even look. Sorry, the Avs are on 65 points. My bad. I was looking at 2 weeks ago. They still lost 2 regular season games, which I find pretty insane. The Red Wings are actually leading the Atlantic. Oh my God, I've really stuffed that up, haven't I? But still, only, 3 points separating the Lightning and the Sabres in 5th, which is crazy. But still the same, really. Oilers are now top of the Pacific. Holy dooly. How are they top of the Pacific? 7-3-0 in the last 10 games. They've really turned it on now. About bloody time. This team takes so long to get going. Now sitting atop of the Pacific Division. But again, that division is really tight. This playoff race is going to be super exciting coming down the stretch. You've got a few bad teams, of course, like the Blackhawks, the Canucks, the Flames, that sort of thing. The Jets are really frustrating. They've lost 6 in a row. What is going on with the Jets? They made the second round of the playoffs last season, and now they're just looking nowhere this season. They are literally tied for last in the whole league, which is super surprising to see with them and the Blackhawks down at the bottom. I don't know if they can come back from that. Honestly, it seems like they've got the best goalie, I think, in the world, and they're really, really struggling at the moment. But looking at individual player stats now, Connor McDavid, probably be the best player in the league, is now leading the point scoring. Him and Leon Draisaitl from the Oilers have absolutely turned it on the last 2 or 3 weeks. They've scored a bunch of points, a bunch of goals, bunch of assists together. One of the best duos going on in the NHL. Nathan McKinnon was leading this stat for a very long time. He's still second, but he's 3 points behind McDavid. But he's still got McKinnon has still got the most goals in the league at 32. Second is Matt Brodie from Minnesota at 25. So he's well ahead in the goal scheme. But McDavid has had so many bloody assists. He has had 45 assists this season in, 36 games or something? Oh my God, he is a freak, man. Absolute freak. I said this big difference for the Avalanche this season is Scott Wedgwood, the goalie, the goaltender that has had an excellent season. And the downfall in previous seasons hasn't been their offense. It's been definitely their goaltending for sure. Now they've got these number 2 and number 3 ranked goaltending goalies in the league by goals per average game at 2.13 and 2.15, Scott Wedgwood and Mackenzie Blackwood. You do not often see that. The Carolina goalie, Brandon Busey, is number 1. I don't believe he's usually the keeper, though, the number 1 goalie, but Scott Wedgwood, Mackenzie Blackwood, absolutely killing it at the moment. But that is your NHL update. I'll obviously give you weekly updates just like the NBA, just like the NFL as well. Obviously, with NFL, I will be updating you when it comes to playoffs. The Red Zone Report will still be going for the playoffs as well. Obviously, less amount of games. We're going to go from literally 16 games all the way down to 6, then to 4, and then to 2, and then to 1. Very, very sad. I'm going to miss the NFL. But that means once the Super Bowl's done, we're pretty much in full swing of NRL coming. Cannot bloody wait. But that will do it for this week's episode of your Skooshi Sports Podcast, the Global Sports Roundup, bringing you the latest sporting news from around the globe in the last week and 2 weeks. As I said, massive shout out to Nicola Ollie Slaggers, my woman's athlete of the year for the podcast in high jump, winning the gold medal in outdoor high jump, indoor high jump, the Diamond League final winner as well. Hit a world record this year as well. Absolute outstanding year in winning the World Athletics Female Field Athlete of the Year as well. Outstanding achievement. So good to have a woman's athletic athlete on the winning this sort of title, which is super cool to have. Got to put these women's athletes more in the spotlight. But as I said, thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure to check out my NRL season previews that have been coming out 2 a week for each team, for 2 teams a week. And then my Red Zone Report coming out tomorrow for week 18. Thank you so much for watching, and cheers.